my raft style. We call this the dragon, right? See all this growth? Well, we're in the middle of May, and this has been trimmed at least twice, maybe 3 times already. And what happens is these big long things come out. So what you do is you just cut those back. And look at this thing here. Woo. Big long things. Now, you know, I'm always saying that I'm behind schedule, which I am. One of the reasons is because I feed my bonsai fairly heavy. Okay, so what happens if you want to make good bonsai? It's by the number of cuts you put into it. Okay, so a good bonsai, every time you cut, you end up with this movement, right? The turning, so that that's how you get to the finished product. Well, remember we were talking about how we got the movement in the trunk, right? So you let it grow, cut it, and then save the direction that you want to go, and then that's how you get it. But when we get to this stage where the main trunk is okay, we want the branches and the sub branches and the sub branches. And so what you got to do is to feed it heavy, let it grow, and then prune. Of course, when you have 2,000 plants and you do that method, it drives you crazy. But most people don't feed the bonsai good enough. That's why it doesn't grow. Well, you know, the pines, Japanese black pine is a very popular subject. Not much written on it, and definitely not much online. But one of the things that make that difficult is no matter what you do, you only get to prune it maybe twice, and sometimes 3 times a year. Chinese elms is like 3 times a week. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but see, each time you cut, it gets better and better. Well, if you want to cut, feed it. That's such a simple concept. I'll be doing a chapter on fertilizer for your trees, because I think there's some misunderstanding. But anyway, for this chapter, I just wanted you to see what you got to do to your Chinese elm. This one happens to be a raft style. Okay, as a review, what happens is when you have a tree and you lay it on its side, well, the root would be sticking up a little bit on this side here, right? Well, and then as it hits the ground, it will root. And then you take the branches and make those into trees. That's what a raft style is. Well, this one here, I did it differently. I went up and down, so it meets here. So this was the original root, or was it that one? I think it was that one. Yeah, well, whatever. So it goes from here, it roots, and then roots like a dragon. And it doesn't have to be this way, but I thought it'd be more interesting to just kind of go like that. But basically, it's a tree on its side that's rooted in the middle parts. Okay, so I need to tighten this up a little bit more. Well, that was a short chapter. So So I'm pretty sure this is the original part. It went down and rooted and got really strong. So this part got stronger than the original part. So this is the raft style, and I call it the dragon. Okay, what's the difference between a bonsai and a topiary? This one here can be just a forest, or maybe you do see a dragon in there. But a topiary would be exactly a dragon. A good example would be like what you see in Disneyland. They always do a great job with all the stuff they do. And so their stuff, Winnie the Pooh and everybody else look exactly like the characters. But in bonsai, if it has the ability to maybe suggest, then it's okay. So this one, I call it the dragon, but most of the time you only see a forest. So that's the main difference, I think. Okay, so, oh yeah. Oh, this is off the subject, but in subject of Disneyland, this maybe 50 years ago, they used to have these events, Japan Day, and I got some of these slides, so I thought I'd share with you. It has nothing to do with the subject at hand, but hey, what can I say? See, it goes from the right to the left, and then the left part was the apex, and there's a rooted in the center. So it really doesn't look much like a dragon, but it could suggest that it could be. Well, this was a short chapter, but hopefully you enjoyed it. This is Hiro saying goodbye. I'll see you again real soon in another chapter.